ASUS just rolled out the ProArt Display 6K PA32QCV. It's a long name. I don't expect you to remember, and we'll probably just refer to it as the ProArt 6K display or something like that. But anyways, on paper, it looks like a direct competitor to not only Apple's Studio Display, but in most aspects, even the Pro Display XDR, but it comes in at a fraction of the price. The big question is whether this monitor is enough to sway the creative professionals away from Apple's ecosystem. Now, if you remember, a few months ago, we did a review on the 5K version that was 27 inches, and a lot of the features, and more so the design, is pretty much the same as that monitor. Inside the box, you'll find both a Thunderbolt 4 cable and an HDMI cable, along with the power cord. You have a calibration report, a cloth, and even the stand, obviously, so that you can assemble it, which, by the way, takes only about 2 minutes or so. You basically just screw the bottom part of the stand to the neck that connects to the monitor, and you're done. Design-wise, though, it's not going to wow you. When you put it next to Apple's Pro Display XDR or even the Studio Display, which is not as good as the Pro Display XDR in terms of design, it just doesn't have that same premium aesthetic. Apple's hardware still sets the bar here, and some people kind of like the design and kind of justify the higher price tag because of the design. Now, it looks very similar to that 5K ProArt monitor that I checked out before, but just scaled up in resolution and obviously in size. If you don't care about the look and feel of a monitor, then I think you'll be fairly happy because the rest of the specs on paper are pretty impressive. Now, the main star of the show here is the display itself. You're getting a 31.5-inch, call it 32, 6K IPS panel with a resolution of 6016 by 3384. And a pixel density of 218 ppi, which is the same as Apple's XDR and plenty sharp for detailed work. Color coverage is excellent, 100% sRGB and 98% DCI-P3, and it comes factory calibrated with a Kalman verified certification. All of that is just meaning its color accuracy is essentially flawless right out of the box, but you can still tweak the profiles in the settings menu if you want to. It's also a true 10-bit panel, so you're getting over 1 billion colors, which is a step above many other competitors. When it comes to HDR, you do have support for HDR10 and HDR600 certification, though it isn't full array local dimming, so peak brightness tops out at 600 nits. HDR performance is overall okay, but it's not mind-blowing when it comes to anything else like the Studio Display or Pro Display. ASUS also uses a matte coating like many other monitors to kind of keep reflections at bay. Personally, I do prefer the glossy, better contrast and pop that you get with the Pro Display or Studio Display, or even if you used Apple's nano texture, I still kind of like that over what you get with the generic matted down monitors. But also, if you want to go vertical, you can. This massive monitor can pivot into portrait orientation. It looks ridiculous in that position, but for coders, writers, anyone who works with super long documents in a vertical manner, it could be useful, I guess. I think perhaps maybe a smaller monitor might be better in conjunction with this one, but do what you want. Connectivity is where ASUS also kind of pulls ahead compared to Apple. You're getting dual Thunderbolt 4 ports with 96-watt power delivery, HDMI 2.1, DisplayPort 1.4, multiple USA and USB-C ports, and even a headphone jack. That's a huge upgrade compared to the limited port selection on any of Apple's monitors. There's also auto KVM to control 2 computers with 1 keyboard and mouse. You get adaptive sync to prevent screen tearing and a dedicated Mac-friendly preset so that colors do in fact line up with what you would see on a MacBook Pro, which is always nice. That's better compared to a lot of other third-party monitors. Display widget software is also available, and you can adjust brightness and profiles without having to actually dive into the hardware itself's menu. So if you just go into the monitors menu, that could be kind of hard. You can do this on your Mac by using the software. There are also built-in sensors for ambient lighting and backlight adjustments. There are some small built-in speakers, though they are not very good, so I highly recommend using external speakers for this. And there's also a feature called Power Sync that syncs the monitor's power state with your connected devices. Now, price-wise, this does come in at $1,299. That's a fraction of the $4,999 Pro Display XDR, and it's obviously still a few $100s short or so to the Apple Studio Display. It positions itself as a powerhouse for creators, photographers, filmmakers, anyone who really just values resolution, detail, and color accuracy. The main trade-offs are really just HDR and the fact that the aesthetics of the monitor are just not that good. But to sum it up, ASUS has really delivered a 6K Retina-grade panel with incredible accuracy, loads of connectivity, and pro-friendly features at a very aggressive price point. And it should be the monitor that you choose 9 times out of 10. But I wouldn't blame you if you did get a 5K studio display or if you went with the Pro Display XDR because you had the extra cash, just because of the aesthetics. I know it's not cost effective, but if you want something that looks good both on the panel and just in general in your workspace, I kind of get it. It's ridiculous, but I kind of get it. TLDR, great monitor for a fraction of the price compared to competitors. Choose this if you don't care about some of the superficial design aspects. Now, would love to hear from you in the comments down below. Would you pick this monitor? Would you go Apple Studio Display? Let's just say money wasn't an option. Which one would you pick? Let me know in those comments down below. This has been Dan with MacRumors. Thanks so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you around in the next video.